So I was sitting with like 50 CrossFit women, and I had to ask the hardest question in the world to them. And I'm like, what is your goal? And it was interesting is 90% of them lied to me right away. They just lied. I want to get stronger. I want to get fitter. I want to be better at this lift. I want to be able to do this many squats. I want to do this. And I knew that wasn't always true, because the other things they were telling me before I asked them that question told me it wasn't necessarily true. And this is important for everybody to hear this. If you're into health and wellness, or if you're, I'm going to say ladies, it's more you than it is in men in general. What is your real goal? Because at the end of the day, after about 2.5 hours spending with these CrossFitters, it was most of them, not all, there's a few out there, but most of them just wanted to look better in a pair of jeans, or a designer pair of jeans. They wanted their ass to look good in jeans. That's what they really wanted. And it was just such a interesting thing, because here they're training their body to do something completely different than what they're actually really wanting. So I see this a lot. So if you're a person that wants to get healthy, you want to get fit, you want to lose weight, you really got to define what your real goal is. I always tell people, if you're going to measure your success with me in the next 6 months, what's the indicator of the success? Like, how do we know if we're going to be successful? I want to be healthy. That doesn't work. Never, ever. There's no way to measure it. I can't use that as a measurement. I want to be at a certain weight. I can use that. I want to look this way. I can sort of use that if it's realistic. I want to fit in these jeans. I can do that. I want to be able to do this type of exercise for this amount of reps. I can do that. We can measure it. But to be healthy doesn't work. To be toned doesn't work. Being toned is an objective viewpoint that you have for yourself that often is not correlated to anything that we can quantify. Meaning, you'll send me a picture, I want to look like this person, but genetically or longevity or skin type, something is never going to look like that, or airbrushing, right? So we can't use that as our measurement. And this is super important, because this is why people quit. They quit because they ultimately don't know clarity of what they really want. The same thing is in business, actually, in my business side of my career, is people that come to me that want to make money, like without clarity, I don't know what you really have to do. Can we make money? Yes. What does that look like for you, right? So here's the thing, and I want to be clear about this. I love fitness. I love working out. And it's clearer now than ever in history that the best quality of your longevity of your life has to do with working out. Nutrition, very important for a lot of things, but nutrition is going to be more of the factor of how your physique is going to look. So meaning you can't outwork a bad diet. And I'm gonna give you an example. Let's just say a donut. I don't even know, I could Google it right now. How many calories in a donut? Let me just see here. How many calories in a donut? How many calories in a donut? Let's see what it says. Okay. How many calories in a donut? A glazed donut is anywhere from 190 to 240 calories. Cake donuts, I don't even know what that is, 220 to 300. Chocolate frosted donuts, 300 to 400 calories. How hard of a workout would you have to do to make up the calories in a donut? Alcohol is 90 calories per serving in general, 90 calories per serving. So you have 3 or 4 drinks, right? You're now up to 300, 400, 500 calories. Depends if you add other stuff to it. And how long is your workout? Most people in a high intensity workout, you might go to Orange Theory, you're like, I did 650 calories. You probably didn't, by the way. That's just their measurement of it. But you maybe did 400, 500. So that hard ass workout you did maybe just covered your donut, okay? So I just want to show you the contrast. A 3-4 mile run might cover your donut. Probably not a good return on your investment of time if you're really trying to lose weight. So diet is going to be more relevant to weight loss than working out. At the same time, working out is going to enhance the quality of your life. It's going to enhance the longevity of the results of your workout. I want to say that again. Working out and becoming fit and strong is going to help the longevity of maintaining your results. Why is that the case? Because if you can build, or more importantly, maintain, because when you lose weight, most people are going to lose muscle mass. It's very hard to not lose a little bit of muscle loss because you're going in caloric deficit. So unless you have the perfectly formulated diet, you're doing it over a long period of time, you're working out and hitting your protein goals every single day, there's a chance you might lose a little bit of muscle mass. When you lose muscle mass, your metabolism naturally will slow down. Also, if you go from 200 to 150, you're carrying 50 less pounds around. So you're therefore lighter and you're burning less calories per the day just because you're smaller. You're not as big. So there's some things that are changing. So your body slows down just a little bit, right? Your new BMR is going to be reset a little lower unless you try to counteract that through physical exertion or physical activity, and muscle building is the best way of going about that. Ladies don't want to build muscle because they don't want to get big and bulky, but they want to lose weight. So therefore they get fat the rest of their life, or they get to their goals, they can't maintain it, and it all comes back on them. Why? So here's the thing. If you really are serious about weight loss, this is probably the best plan I could ever give you at the end of the day as a plan, is spend the next 30 to 50 to 60 days just cleaning up the crap. Just clean up your diet. I'm not telling you to go keto diet. I'm not telling you to do paleo diet. I'm just saying just try to minimize the crap in your diet. Try not to eat 3 hours before you go to bed. So try to stop eating at least 3 hours before you go to bed. Simple as that. You can just start there. Second step to that next 30, 60 days is try to hit your protein goals. So for women, 70 to 120 grams of protein a day. It'd be great if you could do 1 gram per body weight, but if you weigh 400 pounds, you're not eating 400 grams of protein, okay? So you could say 1 gram of protein per ideal body weight. So if your ideal body weight's 130, try to go to 130. If it's 110, 110. Good chances are you're not going to hit those goals, but the more you can get in, the better off you are. In general, protein, primarily animal-based protein, but you can mix it up. It can be a variety of proteins. There can be some vegan or vegetarian-based proteins. They still have really good value, as long as you're getting the blend and balance of everything else, utilizing animal protein or supplementing the deficiencies in vegan-based or vegetarian-based proteins. But that's what I'd first recommend. Second step to that is once you kind of get it cleaned up, you want to do it really systematically, then it's fitness. Have a fitness goal first. Before you go on this huge weight loss journey, go get serious about performance and a fitness goal. And here's what I would recommend. Do a 1 mile run and time yourself. Do a max amount of push-ups, time yourself. Do a weight machine. Do something that's more, not like a bicep or a tricep, more like a pressing exercise, like a chest press, lat pull, even pull-ups would be fine, or a full body weight squat would probably be even awesome. Now, I'm not saying you need to squat hundreds of thousands of pounds. You can use a leg press machine, but do maybe an upper and lower body physical activity. So if you do a run, maybe do a push-up with it. And go set a goal for 6 to 8 weeks. Your goal is to get as strong as you possibly can. And what you're trying to do is think of your body as more of a performance machine, not trying to cut calories. And the reason why is because the more you can focus on getting performance underway and the more you can focus on improving the positive of getting better rather than losing. Losing weight is getting better, but you're also losing. You're always trying to cut back. And what I find is a lot of women will actually go crazy on their exercise and their diet is lacking. And that causes a huge, especially if you do this long term, a huge repercussion. You become malnourished. Because the more you exercise, the more stress you put on your body, the more you have to eat better. It's not the other way around. You have to, the more you exercise, the more nutrition is important for health. Okay. So I see their hair starts to fall off. Why? Because they're becoming deficient. They cut so low on their calories that they've lost minerals and they're losing certain macronutrients and micronutrients that they're actually causing themselves harm. And they're overtraining, they're causing more stress on their body. That's not a long-term solution. So set a benchmark. So don't cut all your calories out. Just clean up your diet a little bit, set a benchmark per performance. Go 6, 8 weeks, could be longer, could be 12 weeks, where you're focused on getting better. So what you do is you say, okay, I'm gonna run faster, I'm gonna do push-ups. So let's build a workout 3 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes. Yes, you could go an hour, at least 30 minutes probably if you're going to do weight, and do weight resistance where you're actually challenging your body. At this point, if you're relatively new, I don't even care about the rep range. I mean, I wouldn't say that you need to go below 10 reps for most of you, if you're new, because your form might be an issue, you might get hurt. So go 10 reps to 20 reps even would be fine. But if you can do 70 reps of the weight, it's probably too light. Go up. Try to stay in a nice range. I like to say 10 to 20 is completely fine. 10 to 15 is fine. 10 to 12 is fine. For certain muscles, you can even go a little higher. So, and you're going to go till a point where you're burning up. You're like, I'm failing. I'm fatigued. At least a 90% of failure. You want to get as close to that 90%. You can hit failure. That's fine as long as you're maintaining good form. But getting closer to that higher, that harder challenge where you physically feel like it's really hard, right? Increase the weights. Go with exertion, go nearly to failure. You can do supersets. There's a million workouts online. That's not the hard thing. It's a matter of, can you put the effort into it? Do that 3 times a week for 6, 8, even 12 weeks. And then go, okay, now I'm going to strategically utilize some caloric deficit. So that's the point. You're like, okay, what do I want to do? You got to hit your protein goals. So that's number one. Number two, you maybe want to try a diet style. Maybe you're going to go keto or go low carb or go paleo or go Mediterranean diet. Doesn't matter. The diet usually just gives you parameters to fall within. Maybe one feels better to you. I do better, a little bit better low carb. I don't know. It's just always felt better to me. But when you go to a diet style, what it does is it eliminates other food sources typically, and it's easier to go lower calorie, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to go 500 calories below your basal metabolic rate and what your caloric expenditure for the day is. So that means you're going to lose about a pound a week. This is ideal. This is like the perfect scenario. If you go more than 500, you're going to lift more than a pound a week. So then now what you're doing is you're going to strategically use maybe some intermittent fasting, cut out breakfast on your non-workout days. And then you only eat between 12 and let's say 7 p.m. Well, you're not going to eat as much in that time frame. Still hit your protein goals, right? So this is how I would structure it. And at least twice a week, have 2 days a week if you're trying to lose weight where you go back up to your calorie amount. You go back up to your basal metabolic rate at minimum. So if you're at 1500 basal metabolic rate, you got to have at least 1500 calories at least twice a week. And what you're doing is you're reminding your body that you're not always trying to cut. Okay, especially if you want to stay in shape, you want to stay physically fit, you want to stay toned, you want to stay strong, if you don't want to be in caloric deficit all the time. Look at bodybuilders. What's interesting, if you ever get to know a bodybuilder, is that usually the few weeks before their shows, they kind of suck. Like, they're miserable asses, most of them are. Like, they got F off on their forehead. Like, they're dragging. Why? Because they're trying to perform with less food, dehydrated, minerally, like sodium started to be dumped out of their system. And their body's not actually performing super well, but they're trying to, right? You don't want to live your day-to-day life even mildly like that. We want to stay as far from that as possible. So what you can do, if you all have time, you don't want to lose the weight, you don't want to gain the weight back, so do this right the first time, is that twice a week, you refeed your body to remind it it's not starving. And then the other 5 days a week, you can go a little more caloric deficit. You can even go a little bit harder on those other days because you have 2 days where you can refeed back. And so I love this style. It works really well. Now, for some of you, if you're getting closer to your goal, maybe you go 4 days where you're cutting calories and the other 3 days you refeed. It kind of depends. If you want to keep performance up, then you might want to eat more and then take a little longer to lose the weight. That last 10 pounds is usually always the hardest. So that's the recipe for success. I know people always like to hear me talk about ketones. I use ketones in this for different ways. I use it as a fuel to help people get the best workout. Ketones also protect the metabolism, so it protects you from losing muscle mass when you're in caloric deficit. So it's like an insurance policy for you. It does help with cravings. It helps you with cut some of the crap out. So it's a nice little tool for that too. So it's a tool, but it's not the solution to the whole thing. You still got to provide the right nutrients. You still got to eat the right way that's going to work for your goals. You still got to exercise the way that you need to exercise for what the results you want. And you still got to be committed to the journey that takes some time. So I just pulling my hair out because most people just don't know what they want. These women, these CrossFit women, what they wanted, their ass to look good in jeans. Like, it literally, that's what came out of it. After 2 hours, that's what came out. I'm like, okay, so this is my advice to them. If you're a CrossFitter and you're like, I listened to this whole thing and what'd you tell these ladies? I said, listen, you got 2 choices. You can't keep under eating, performing like you are. You're going to get hurt and you're going to break down. And your hormones are going to get freaking wrecked. Your thyroid's going to you're going to be a mess. So you got to stop that. You already know 25 girls that have already done this, by the way. You just talk to them. You can hear their stories. So you got to do 2 things. You either got to eat more or work out less. And for almost every single one of those CrossFit girls, what I told them that they needed to do was cut their workouts down to only CrossFit 3 times a week. Competitively, like hardcore. They could do 2 skill days where they're learning the technique, and it's not about the load, it's not about the weight. So this is a psychological problem they had because they're all addicted to it and they think they have to do it all the time. I'm like, no, like, it's about your goals. So 3 days a week, you can go hardcore, go all out. And maybe Saturday's your max out day, fine. The other 2 days you can work on form because they're going 5 to 7 days a week. That's overtraining, by the way, like, completely. And then the other 2 days, if you have to do something, you can't just take a day off. Go cross train, go do yoga, go do Pilates, do something else, go swim, do something else and do it more of a meditated, like, inner experience for yourself rather than this hardcore outward push. You're talking to somebody that's overtrained most of his youth and broke down his entire body in his 20s to build it back up over the last 30 years. You don't want to do that. I promise you, it's a disaster at the end. And when you're 40s and you're having every joint replaced, that's a problem. And I know what it's like, but it started when I was in my teens. It didn't start in my 40s. It started when I was young. I created this problem way younger, and I don't want you to go through that same thing. So if you want your ass to look good in a pair of jeans, you cannot do squats as often as you can with the load that you're doing and eating the way you do. Your body is going to grow for the external load that you're putting on the system. And so it's not going to work. Now, some of you, your ass will never look good in designer jeans because the jeans are the wrong jeans. Go find better jeans for you. But for the most part, we gotta really look at this intelligently, not because it's the right thing to do. And when you just gotta be aware of these things. Like, I love working out, and I want you to keep doing it. At the same time, I want you to understand, what are you doing it for? Really get grand. This is where you need a coach. You need a coach that's unbiased towards the exercise. Like, listen, I don't care. I think, well, science will tell us all exercise works. Everyone works. It just comes down to what your real goals are. And so it's quite often that you could CrossFit for a while and then you switch over to something else, or find a blend amongst them all that have the greatest results, or whatever form that exercise is. But for the you that are watching that doesn't exercise, set a goal, get a goal, hire a trainer, hire a coach, get in a club that you can be around, people will be around to teach you what to do, and stay committed to it. Because your first 6 months might just be you learning what to do. And it's not about how hard you're doing it. It's just about getting familiar and comfortable doing it. And that's okay too. So enjoy, lose that weight, keep it off forever. That's what we do.